Welcome to this new Flight Simulator update movie. In this movie we're gonna look at Malaga, which is one of the cities which has received a photogrammetry update as part of World Update number 8, which has been released a few days ago. We've just taken off from Malaga airport. It's a pretty big airport, right? So really nice to see. So let's have a look at the city itself. So we're gonna get a look from the outside of the aircraft, because that gives us a little bit more, let's say, realistic view about how the city looks like.
Don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink.
We need to pay attention. We're not gonna go too low. So we're gonna make a turn. Right, so the city is over there. As you can see, it's a pretty big city. It's in the southeast of Spain, if I'm correct. So let's follow the road. Right? So here's a nice highway, or probably it's a highway, which leads us to the city. Again, it's one of the cities which received a photogrammetry update. As you know, Flight Simulator World updates are both containing say point of interests, but also photogrammetry cities. In this case, 6 cities received a photogrammetry update. Some other ones received a photogrammetry update and, let's say, point of interest, but in this case Malaga is one of those which only received a photogrammetry update. Must be a pretty hard decision to make, right, if you give either one or 2 additional things to the city itself. So we're coming closer to the city. We can already see some elevation happening here, right? Higher buildings to the left side. Just moving around. Really cool. And also the elevation, right? The mountains, I would say, across or surrounding the city do look nice. In some scenarios, right, when you're using the photogrammetry update, you can see that the content is not that idle, especially if you're flying a few days after the world update has been released. In that case, give it a try within a few days, because in some scenarios the city or the service might need to, let's say, cope up a little bit more. At least that's what I read somewhere on the internet, so let's assume between brackets that that's okay. You see that currently it looks really cool. There are also no issues with the frames per second, and also the quality is pretty nice. If we look downstairs, right, we can see it's a nice overview of those buildings. Over there is the harbor of the city. It's a pretty high harbor, and then ATC comes in. Right, so I forgot to enable the ATC assistant, so I need to, I would say, reply to this message myself. However, if you stop replying, then eventually they will disconnect ATC. Right? It's not the official way and you shouldn't do it normally, but for now, for this, I would say, demo flight, we're gonna do it. So we can reduce the engine speed a bit. Let's make some turns, because I'm seeing some nice things over there.
Sierra Alpha, please acknowledge.
So the ideal scenario to play on an Xbox Series X is to connect, I would say, a keyboard to it, so you can still use the keyboard, let's say, to press or to control the ATC. With only an Xbox controller, it's kind of impossible to, let's say, do all these kind of things together. So below us there's a nice soccer stadium, as you can see. That one hasn't been elevated, it's really flat. But the surrounding buildings have been elevated, as you can see, and also other pieces have been elevated.
Alpha, did you hear my last transmission?
Yes, we heard it, but we can't answer you flying on the Xbox. So let's make another turn and then fly to the other part of the city. This should be pretty realistic normally. Depending on the Bing maps which they use, right? In some cases the Bing maps are a little bit outdated, which makes, let's say, things in the city a little bit different. So if you see this movie and you're living in Malaga, then let me know via the comment box if it's realistic or if there are some critical things which are missing. Below us is some kind of track or something, not sure what it is. Almost looks like a racing track.
Malaga Tower, Austrian 386 at runway 30 ready for departure IFR to Vienna. Austrian
Taking off to Vienna, as you can see. So you can see it's a pretty big city, right? So we're still flying over the city. We can still see the elevation. So some parts of the city have received the elevation. Some other parts haven't received the elevation and does look a little bit more unrealistic. But overall it looks really cool. So let's fly a little bit lower to decrease the engine power. Gonna fly over the beaches. So that's that. See some nice buildings over here, right? So if we would go a little bit lower, not too low of course, you see some more details here. Also keep an eye on the speedometer, right? Because it's in the yellow range. The yellow range is, say, not too bad if you're in there not too long. Of course you always should try to stay in the green zone. Ideally it's rate 85 knots or something. That's the speed which you should try to aim for. Or somewhat lower, right? Keep an eye on the trimming. You might need to adjust the trimming if you adjust the speed, right? Then you need to readjust the trim to make sure that you can continue flying at the same level. So here are some bridges which they have added, although they're not indicated as a point of interest. They're here just for the cars driving over the city, driving to the city I should say. And this could be a nice challenge for you, right? So challenge for you is to fly under this bridge. It's a really, you would say, nasty one because you can see that it directly turns. So you need to be, you would say, pretty quick. It's probably not using a Cessna, but kind of another aircraft which is really flexible of making turns.
118.275, Austrian 386.
So increase the speed again. Multiply and have a last look at Malaga, which is one of those cities which received a photogrammetry update. So here ends this video. In this video we looked at the photogrammetry update for Malaga, city in Spain. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.